was the crime of the century, a horrifying and gruesome double murder that, after more than 100 years, is still unsolved.
Mr. Borden and his wife were brutally hatcheted to death early in the morning.
These two victims were butchered.
Join us at the house where it all happened. One of the most haunted locations in the world.
There's a residual energy that's here.
Footsteps, people talking, doors slamming.
A lot of people see the toys being moved around.
There's a man there, and I don't know who he is.
It is about the right size for most of the wounds on the Borden skulls.
Our experts will break down the murders and the trial. They'll discuss alternate theories and potentially overlooked suspects.
Uncle John's alibi doesn't hold water.
Join host Susan Slaughter and your favorite paranormal researchers as they search for answers to the crime and the haunting. Will the ghost of the house offer any clues? Will Lizzie herself make contact? Find out as the Dark Zone brings you the Lizzie Borden Murder House.
All right, welcome back to the Dark Zone Live presents the Lizzie Borden Murder House. Again, I'm Jay Blumke. I'm over here on the West Coast, and we have Susan Slaughter. She's over in Fall River in a Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. And our next guest is a man very familiar with not only the bed and breakfast, but also Susan Slaughter. These two are on the same television show. Brian Cano, welcome to our event.
Hey, Jay,
welcome,
how's it going?
Sir. Maybe you guys want to say hi since you're buds
hi,
in
Brian.
the first place?
Hey, Sue. Good
hi,
to see
there.
you. We're in the same room. Hey,
Good to
you want me
see
to go
you
get you a
too.
drink? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go get drinks after this. Let's go get drinks after this. You were actually just here, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, you were here recently.
Last weekend, I held a private event, a night at the Lizzie Borden house for a select few people. Because I wanted to keep it more private, more intimate, and also COVID forced that upon us if I wasn't doing it already. This is the thing. When it comes to activity, I feel that a place like the Lizzie Borden house, I've been here many times over the years in many different facilities and functions. Sometimes I'm assisting. Actually, in the beginning, I was here assisting other people holding events. Then I held my own. I've been here just as a friend. Once I got to know the owners, oftentimes I would come here just to say hello, just to drop in and see how everyone's doing. But the interesting thing, in those early days, there was, I guess, something consistent about my involvement with the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast, and that was splitting head pain. And I can't explain exactly why, but anytime I found myself there or even knew I was going, I would get this splitting headache. And one day I find myself here, and I told Leanne, I said, I'm just going to wander around a little bit. And as I did in between tours in the empty house, I found myself speaking aloud just to the spirits. And I said, okay, one in particular. I said, all right, Andrew, I know this is your house. You should know me by now. I don't mean any disrespect, but if there's a problem, I certainly, I don't know why, so I would love to come to terms and come to some sort of truce. And that's when I found myself upstairs in the rear bedroom, right by the armoire that has Andrew's picture and some scattered coins, better known these days as Andrew's bribe. And I said, you know what? It can't hurt. It could only help. Let's see what happens. I dug into my pocket, grabbed up some change, and said, okay, here you go, Andrew. For whatever this is worth, here it is. I hope this satisfies you. I hope this tribute is just a small sign of respect that I acknowledge your importance in this house. And I gotta say, since that time, it could be coincidence. I don't know if the two events have anything to do with one another, but since that time, I have not had a headache again at the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast.
Wow, you know what? I have seen that little dresser armoire section. It's right there. I'm actually staying at the bedroom that's next to it. I did notice that there was money in there, and I didn't realize that had.
Yes.
It was called Andrew's Bribe. I also know that other people that work here also do speak to Andrew regularly because they believe that he tends to be the most, I guess, active energy in the house. That he's the one that's like more in people's faces.
So role playing is something that happens a lot at the Lizzie Borden B&B, as we know, because they do the tours and sometimes they do reenactments and all that stuff. I know that you had a program that you ran there for like 3 years in a row where you did a mock trial and people dressed up and played the parts.
2014 through 2016, for 3 years running, right after the anniversary of the murders, in August, we would hold the retrial of Lizzie Borden. And this was very much a social experiment. And while everyone's heard of trigger objects, I wanted to have a trigger event. And the purpose here was to try to stir up the energy in a relevant way. Now, we had 20 people in attendance, 10 for the prosecution, 10 for the defense. And myself and my buddy Chris, we were the judges. So the object was, okay, we're going to give you all the actual case files, the testimonies, everything that was seen in court. Here, take it. When you arrive, we're giving you 2 hours to build your case. Prosecution, go down the street to Dunkin' Donuts, or you could stay here, but whatever. The two teams were split. And when we first conceived of this, I was a little worried that maybe this wouldn't work because it's we're giving them a job to do, and we don't know if this was going to resonate. And what turned out, what happened, was that people got so involved. They got so invested in this story. And because the Lizzie Borden house and the murders that happened there are as of yet unsolved, this has captured the imagination of our culture, of our society, not just America, but all over the world. And up until that time, the only case that had really done that was Jack the Ripper. And in the Lizzie Borden case, this was the first case that used photographs as forensic evidence during a trial. This was kind of a benchmark at the time. So we wanted to duplicate that newness, that investment. And the people, once we got down to the actual trial of it, we enlisted the help of the tour guides to play specific parts. Lizzie, Emma, John Morse. And anytime the attendees wanted to call someone to the stand, they could do so and be cross-examined by both sides. So I think my plan, I had hoped it would go well, but it went better than I could have foreseen, because that night, after the trial ran its course, and of course, once again, Lizzie was acquitted, we couldn't find enough evidence to push for a unanimous decision. The first EVP session, the first question, we got an immediate response to.
We have our next guest, who is somebody who was with us during the Conjuring House, somebody who we met for the first time at the Conjuring House. This is Tony Rathman and Cherie Rathman. The
Hi,
Rathmans. Hey.
Hello.
Hi,
Good to see you again,
See
Jay.
you.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
You have a thing called Entity Voices. Tell us what Entity Voices is.
Entity Voices Paranormal Investigations. And we started that about 10 years ago, 10 and a half maybe. Funny story, but I was a complete skeptic 10, 11 years ago, and Cherie was not. And one Valentine's Day, she said, I want to do something different. I want to go ghost hunting. And I was like, okay. So to appease her, I took her and bought her some equipment, thought it'd be used, for a brief one weekend time, and then stuck in the back of a closet. But we went, and she caught amazing evidence, and I was just blown away by it. So it took me months to wrap my head around how these voices were showing up, what was showing up in the pictures, and it started Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
We've been working on a project, and you've been doing most of it, Tony. There was an idea that we all had when we were organizing this event. So tell us about the project. Give us a little kind of setting the stage of what it is and how you did the work and how
Sure.
what the setup was and all that.
There are so many unanswered questions around the Borden case. And because it was August 4th and it was the 128th anniversary of the murders, we took 4 different paranormal investigators and we developed 10 questions. And we gave those 10 questions to each of the investigators to ask on the anniversary date. But we had Colin Broen, Chris Fleming, Ken DaCosta, and myself perform these spirit box sessions where the questions were identical for every one of us that was asking. Each of the 10 questions that was asked, you're gonna see that question, you're gonna hear each of the investigators ask it, and then hear what the responses were that came through.
And I just want to say real fast, for the audience, there is some language. There is some bad language that comes through. I just want to warn everybody. There's an F-bomb or two. So if there's anybody that might be offended, we just wanted to warn you in advance that there is some bad language that's going to come up.
No, and glad that you did.
We always get those bad words every time.
We do. That's how you know you're not picking up radio stations.
Right.
But so I think we can probably take a look at that.
I have a question for you guys. Do you know who killed Abby Borden?
Tell me, who killed Abby Borden?
Who killed Abby Borden?
Is who killed Abby Borden?
Do you guys know who killed Andrew Borden?
Who killed Andrew Borden?
Who killed Andrew Borden?
Who killed Andrew Borden? Same. Same what? Same person. What was the name of that person?
Why did Lizzie destroy the dress? Almost like voodoo.
Why did Lizzie destroy the dress?
Why did Lizzie destroy her dress? Said that it had paint on it. Is that true? Yes or no, please? Yes. Lizzie was telling the truth.
Was there blood on the dress that Lizzie destroyed? Can you tell me that? Was there blood on it?
Was there blood on the dress that Lizzie destroyed?
Was there any blood on the dress that Lizzie destroyed? Perhaps it had paint, but did it also have blood on it?
Why did Lizzie destroy her dress?
Seeker.
Seeker. Yeah, I'm seeking answers. Why did Lizzie destroy the dress?
Can you tell me why Abby was killed? Abby Borden? Why was Abby killed?
Why was Abby killed?
Why was Abby killed?
Say. Why was Andrew Borden killed? Why was Andrew killed?
Why was Andrew killed?
Why was Andrew killed? Why was Andrew Borden killed?
What happened to the real axe that was used to kill Abby and Andrew Borden? An axe was used in killing Abby and Andrew. What happened to the murder weapon? What happened to that axe?
They said this was done with a hatchet. What happened to the murder weapon? Where was it hidden?
What happened to the murder weapon?
Do you think the axe that was used to kill the Bordens will ever be found? Can it be found? Where's the axe today?
What happened to the hatchet? Is it still there? Can it be found today if we're looking in the right spot?
Can it still be found today? Yes.
Did Lizzie Borden have a boyfriend at the time of the murders? Did Lizzie have a boyfriend at the time of these murders?
Lizzie have a boyfriend? Did she have any kind of affection for a young man?
Yeah? What was his name? Bennett. Bennett?
Come on. Buddy.
It was a girl. It was a girl. I don't know. Bridget. Oh. I think I just heard Bridget, and that's my next question. Was Bridget Lizzie's special friend? Yes.
Was Bridget Lizzie's special friend?
Was there any kind of romantic relationship with Bridget Sullivan?
Was Bridget a special friend of Lizzie?
Do you have a message for the world? Do you have a message to tell people, Lizzie?
Lizzie, what is your message to the world? What do you want to tell the living?
Is there something that you'd like to say? Do you have a message that you'd like to give? This is your time to do so now. It seemed like a no, but again in a male voice.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Did Lizzie commit the murders? Yes.
Uncle?
Her uncle? Her uncle was involved in the murders?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you commit the murders?
That was awesome.
Fleming gets a lot of really great responses, doesn't he?
He did. There was some incredible stuff on there. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, full sentences just coming through in succession, just amazing.
Yeah, you know. And
Now,
that was one
I got to.
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, that was one of the
okay,
things
I was going to say. Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
I was going to say, I have a hard time hearing some of those, and I know that you have a trained ear, and you focus on it, and you clean it, and you use gear and so forth. But some of those, especially the Fleming ones, and yours, because they don't have so much static, I can hear pretty well.
Yeah,
Right.
your ear does adjust over time. And, you know, when we first, I remember the first EVP that I ever even heard, I couldn't even hear what was being said. All I could hear was it didn't sound like what I remember us recording. And it wasn't probably until I had listened to it 40 times that all of a sudden the words started to come out and I could hear them. Well, it's the same thing with a spirit box. When listening, there is a training of the ear that has to occur to be able to pick the words out, because most of the times they're above that static level or below. But it takes some training. You know, they always say that veil between the living and the dead is there, but it's thin. Well, that's one of those boundaries where spirits are clearly trying to reach out, but that thin veil sometimes prevents them from doing it because people just graze right over it, don't hear it, and that message gets lost.
I see a lot of devices like that today. A lot of people are using things like the Ovilus or using apps and stuff like that to investigate with. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about your device. What is that device? How do you use it? How does it work?
Well, it works very similar to any other spirit box out there, with some major exceptions. The main function of it was to clear the incoming signals, to remove static, to enhance the audio so that when they spoke, it was audible to the ear and you weren't guessing amongst 10 different people about what was said.
So is that scanning radio frequencies?
It uses multiple devices to pull in signals. Scanning radio frequencies is one of them. I'm sorry, it works very similar to Jay's, where it's avoiding a lot of the known radio frequencies. It is jumping through a wider band, a much wider band of the radio graph than the 88 to the 109 where radio stations send out their signals. So hopefully that helps answer the question you're asking.
I understand you're going to do a remote session with Susan.
Susan, you are free to ask any question you want. I obviously am connected to headphones to the show, so this is where it becomes difficult for me, because you're asking the question, I'm going to repeat it, and then the box is going to spit out the answer. I think one of the really interesting parts that came from the test was that, the information surrounding this case has been obscured for so many different levels, but the full answers never came to view, and the people that were involved in it never really paid for what they had done. I remember you saying, Susan, that during some of the investigations, the equipment would fail to work, or your equipment would shut down, or something would block it. And then on a couple of Ken's responses, he was asking the females questions, and then there was a male voice responding saying, no. Part of me, and again, this is just theory, but part of me believes that this information, even on the other side, is still being protected.
I totally get that feeling too. You're 100% on with that, because every time we try to talk with the women that were in the house, we're constantly getting interference.
Susan, I think the easiest way to do this is to have you ask your question. I'll repeat it, and then we'll turn this up, adjust the volume so that both the audience and you guys can hear it, and we'll just do question after question.
So my first question is there anybody within this house that would like to come forward and speak with me?
Okay. Spirit, Susan's question is there anyone in the Borden house that would like to come forward and speak with her? Okay. Did that say Bridget?
I heard it.
Did you just say Bridget? You heard Bridget again? Hi. Can you say hello to Susan?
Hi.
Roger. Okay.
Okay.
Why does it feel so uncomfortable for me in your room, Bridget?
Spirits, Susan wants to know why it feels so uncomfortable for her in your room. Can you answer that, please? What did that say?
I heard incest or something.
That's exactly what I heard. Susan, that's dead on. That's exactly what I heard.
What's up?
Spirits, I'm just going to flat out ask this. Did I just hear you say incest? Yes. That was a clear yes.
Are there energies around me that I brought to the house that keep you from interacting with me?
Susan wants to know. Definitely. I didn't even ask yet.
Curse.
Curse. Bridget again.
I feel so uncomfortable in her room, and I don't understand. It's the only part of the house that I really feel uncomfortable in. So it's just kind of, that's why I chose not to sleep upstairs at all, you know, and, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Richard, did that just say Richard?
It sure did. I just turned it down. I apologize because I'm having a hard time hearing you, but it absolutely said Richard.
Richard's an energy that I carry with me. So I was just curious to see if that was something they're picking up. Yeah.
Anything
Last night
else?
we received Richard as well on a spirit box, so I thought it was really funny that we heard Richard again. So I was just curious to know what that was about.
That's awesome. There's definitely an overlap of a form of what had happened in this particular location. It's just when you try to drill down to the specifics of it, that's where everything just goes gray, and there's confusion and uncertainty, and there's just been this wall that you can get up to, and then you hit it, and then everything just shuts down.
Who killed Andrew and Abby?
Okay, let's ask that and find out. Hopefully find out. All right, spirits. Everyone wants to know who killed Abby and Andrew Borden.
I thought I heard axe.
I heard axe too.
Was it a different killer for each? Dead. Okay, who killed Abby Borden?
Bridget again?
Was that Bridget again?
Bridget.
Crazy. I don't.
Wow.
They definitely needed a different maid.
I think it's better. If
Who killed Andrew Borden?
Ed.
Dead. That was dead again. What was that? Sorry, too much.
I thought I heard Princess and Lizzie.
Possibly. I didn't catch it. Cherie said something to me right when it went off. And
It sounded like Princess and Lizzie. There's a question from some of the audience here asking, did the handyman do it? Apparently there's a handyman character that some people have heard of.
Okay, sure, we'll ask that. Spirits, was there a handyman involved in the murder? They said hatchet again. Was there a handyman involved? Was that a no? Spirits, was there a handyman involved in the murders? Dead. Dead.
That was pretty clear.
That was very clear.
I do have another question.
Sure.
Did Emma know the murder was going to take place?
Good question. All right, spirits, we want to know, did Emma know the murders were going to take place?
Neither.
Neither?
Love it.
Yeah.
Wait.
One more question, and
Sure.
the question is, did Uncle John Morris take part in the murder?
All right, that's another great question, so let's find out. Excuse me. All right, spirits, I have one more question. did Uncle John take part in the murders? Did Uncle John take part? Yes or no?
Bunny.
Yes or no, spirits? Did Uncle John take part? Not hearing a response.
I think you get that.
I just heard Benny before, and then just now I heard Lizzie.
Yeah, and when I don't know who Benny is, and I would love to be able to do some additional research on that. But when I did my portion of the test that we did, they clearly said, when I asked if she had a boyfriend, they said Bennett, and then Benny came in at the end of it, which I don't know who that is,
Right.
but they're fascinating.
Okay, Dark Zoners. We have our next guest on deck. You've met him before. He was part of our Conjuring event, and this is one of our favorite historians in the world, who is also a paranormal researcher. His name is James Martin, and he's coming to us all the way from England. Hello, James Martin.
Hello, pleasure to be back with you. I'm actually calling you from southern France at the moment. So good afternoon.
It was the same. It was the same
evening.
last time.
Yes.
Actually, it was the same last time, right? Yeah. Okay, your accent is confusing me. That's why I think you're coming from England. All right. So and we have Susan Slaughter over at the Lizzie Borden B&B right now.
Hi there.
We have a special guest. Just letting the audience know, we got a special guest now that we're going to join into this conversation. You know her. You love her. Let's welcome in Andrea Perrin.
Hi.
Hi, Andrea. Good to see you again.
It's wonderful.
There she is.
Hi,
How are you doing?
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes, I was listening to your information, and because I grew up in Rhode Island, I knew from a young age that all the police were at a huge park that used to exist there called Rocky Point, and they were all there. They were having some kind of an outing, or they were doing some kind of a thing that where they might have called it a training, but really they were having an outing. And everybody knew that this was going to happen. And so if you were going to plan a murder, this would be the time to do it. Absolutely.
I think it was a smart plan, to be honest. I think there's a lot of premeditation that happened with this whole, murder. And I think a lot of people inside and outside were paid off. So a lot of people had things to gain from Lizzie running free off of this.
So it's my understanding, James, that you wanted to have Andrea come on board so you could give her a piece of information that she may not know. That kind of is an interesting connection from her particular haunting to this particular haunting.
What I found was there are 17 connections with the Borden family and the Arnold family.
Uh-huh.
So, ninth cousin of a grandparent. The family really is one of the same, just a few hundred years ago. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, there were always rumours about there being an Arnold family curse. Whether or not you think that this, the murders with the Bordens could be linked to that.
I don't know if there was particularly an Arnold family curse, but I do know that I did know that there was an ancestral connection between the Bordens and the Arnolds. But I will tell you, Bathsheba Sherman, who was accused of murdering an infant at the Arnold estate, even though she was not an Arnold. She lived about a mile away at the Sherman farm. She and Lizzie have one thing in common, and that is that there was an inquest regarding both of them, and that both of them talked their way out of it. I've had things happen to me at the Lizzie Borden house that I simply cannot explain, and the only place that I've ever been besides the Lizzie Borden house where I've had similar paranormal activity was at the old Arnold estate where I grew up.
James was giving us some information just a few minutes ago, and there was some weird audio that was happening. It almost sounded like radio scanning or something. It was very strange. And Andrea, I understand it was coming from your signal, from your area, and you're sitting in an empty room. It's just you.
Right. You're not only picking up my energy, but you're picking up energy and even personalities that hover around me constantly. I tell every interviewer that I do an interview with, expect that if I get on certain subjects, there's going to be interference, because it does and it will around me. And I don't know why I attract it. I'm kind of magnetized to them, but I think it's because I love them.
People misinterpret phenomena all the time, you know, and it is a fear of the unknown. And I'm always trying to tell people that please do not antagonize energies, even if they seem a little bit scary. I mean, I just love your outlook, and I love hearing you talk about the paranormal because it's really refreshing. I hate when people antagonize things, and the Conjuring movies kind of antagonize these energies, but you have a positive relationship with them.
Oh yes,
Can I
absolutely.
just throw something in as well? Just as you were talking, Andrea, I also heard it sounded very much from my end like you were talking twice, but I absolutely heard it's you.
The message that I was getting when you were all picking up that whispering sound, the message that I was getting was tell them about the spirit box. Tell them about the spirit box. My friend George, my co-author, was at the Lizzie Borden house with Johnny Zappis and Ken DaCosta and their whole crew from Rise Up in Rhode Island. And they were doing a spirit box session, and there was, they were getting some things, everything was working, everything was fine, and then the spirit box, I guess they shut it off, but there were still numbers and information coming through the spirit box, even though it was turned off. All I know is Zappis freaked out, because Zappis is like a little girl when stuff like this happens. He screams like a little girl. He does. So just saying.
We've got this little video clip basically playing back what we all thought we heard earlier. So I would love to check it out and show it to you guys, and let's all listen and see what we hear.
Yes, I agree.
So that was what was coming through. That was what was coming through the control room, and it was just really weird audio that we were hearing from your end, Andrea.
That's really hard to convey like that, but when it's really in your eardrum, like you can make out what sounds like phonetic sounds, like words being spoken. I heard it, and I thought that was just me. And even right now, I'm getting feedback from that. I'm getting a static, and I don't know if any of you guys are getting that right now.
I hear it too.
That could have, but with me, that could have been extraterrestrial. It could have been. I mean, that does sound synthesized like
Thank
a lot
you.
of the messages that I get
That's
from
what I'm
them.
saying.
You know, so it might not have
what's
even
funny
been
is
spirit. It might have been my galactic family.
You know, when we did the Conjuring House event, there was a lot of conversation towards the end of it about UFOs and aliens, and you know the potential influence of that phenomena on what you experienced and what is being experienced at that location. Do you see any similarities with the Lizzie Borden murder house?
Yeah, I do. I think that that house has a very similar energy to the farmhouse. When I'm at the Lizzie Borden house, I don't feel her. But then again, I sympathize with her. Even if she did it, I feel like she probably had a really good reason. I feel a very strong male presence at the house. And I was going to ask Susan about that if she has, picks up
100%.
Yeah, really nefarious, malicious, and when I was there with John, and I was there with a few other people. We were up on the 3rd floor, and all of us just turned and looked at each other at the same time, without even verbalizing. Did you feel that? We could read each other's minds. Yes, we all sensed that we were not alone in the room. All of us wanted to be out of the room immediately. And that experience was threatening. And I mean, even growing up in the house that I grew up in, I never felt threatened by any of them. Not personally. I know there were members of my family who did, but I never felt threatened. Well, I felt threatened in the Lizzie Borden house. Not on the 1st floor, not on the 2nd floor, but up on the 3rd floor. There was an energy up there that made me say, I'm never coming up here again.
Every night that I've been here so far, I get awakened by some electrocution feeling, like in the top of my head, tingling, somewhere in my chest. And if I focus on that sensation, then I start kind of picking up certain aspects, and the dark male entity that you speak of, I feel there is a trapped toxic masculinity within the house.
I think Morse is definitely someone that needs to be focused on for me. I know time's amongst us, but Morse seems to be someone who has gone out of his way to obtain alibis. It's just some very unusual things with him.
On our previous interview, we were talking about the fact that Uncle John always liked to stay on the 3rd floor close to where the maid's quarter was, and that he believed that Uncle John might have been either in a tryst with, or possibly like sexually being a sexual predator towards, the maid. And so maybe there's that weird, dark, uncomfortable, predatory feeling up there for that reason. And the worst tingling sensation that I got was actually when I was in the John Morse room, which is where Abby was found dead. I spent the first night there, and I just couldn't help but feel like I was like being voyeured on. Feeling of constantly being watched, and like kind of, there was this underlying sexual tone to it.
There are really 2 sensations of being watched, and one is of being protected, and that I welcome. And then there's one of being watched in terms of that whole predatory aspect, that male energy that is so negative and so toxic and so dark that it literally makes the hair stand up on your body.